Hello, Wachia. Hello to my friends at the Montreal NDC board meeting this week. We're sorry that we're not able to be with you this week. The invitation came too late for us to manage a trip to Montreal on our schedule, although we would have liked to be there with you, maybe next year. Besides my greetings to you all, I want to call your attention to a few items that I hope you find in your board meeting binders. One document is the Language and Culture Budget Proposal for next year. Document that looks like this. Like this. I hope it's in your board meeting binder. I will not be reading the whole thing, but I would like to highlight just a few things. In the content and amounts, it's not much different from last year. But to read about the progress made in each area done last year and the goals for next year, see the paragraph for each section marked comments under each heading. So to read about the progress that we made in the grammar project, read about the comments there. Here's a visual summary of the accomplishments that NDC made over the past year. In March, there was a book dedication for two of the latest books. This is the book of Psalms that was completed this spring, and this is the book of the Promises of God that was also completed this spring, and it was dedicated at the church service in Kawawa in March. The Psalms book also comes in a large print edition and in hardcover, so the elders all received hardcover large print versions of the book of Psalms. I'm very happy and proud to see this book out. This is the 6th book of the Naskapi Legend series. This is the second of the series that contains only Naskapi history. This is called The Whale Hunt and Other Stories. Wapmaguchka Nochahaganoch. Like all the other Naskapi legend books, it's a reader for reading the Naskapi book in Naskapi for Naskapi readers. And it also contains English literary translation of each story. And it also contains an analytical translation side by side of the Naskapi in Roman letters and the English right next to it, just like all of our other books. And it's also available in hardcover and in paperback. But this is a very significant book because it not only gives us a Naskapi's point of view for a Naskapi history written by a Naskapi person, John Piasatut in this case, but it also provides information that has fed into our dictionary project. All the new words from this book that we hadn't put in the dictionary before that were in this book have been put into the dictionary. It feeds into our map project. This book has the paper printed maps of all the locations from our big map, from our mapping project, right in the book. So John refers to these places when he talks about an overland journey from Fort McKenzie to Fort Chimo. And so the pathway from Fort McKenzie to Fort Chimo is all mapped and charted in the map in the book, and also available on a Google map on the internet. Just this fall, we finished the checking copy of the Book of Exodus. This is the next major translation project that the translation team has been working on, and this is just the checking copy, so it's not available to the general public yet, but the translation team will be currently checking this version of it, and as soon as they've read through it and approved it, it will be able to be published. In December, just the beginning of this December, we've done a revision of the Naskapi language church readings. So this is the newest book. It has all the Sunday readings for all of the church services for an entire year in this book, and we finished that revision this year, and it came to the community in time for the first Sunday of Advent. Finally, David Swappy has been persistent in asking us for certain other translations of the Old Testament books. For years he's come to us and said, how about the story of Eli and in 1 Samuel and the story of Job and the story of Esther? Well, they're not done yet, but we have a lot of it in first draft and a lot of it that is available. And so he convinced me to make it available to the people who are interested in reading at what stage the translation is at now. All of the readings that are in this book still have quite a bit more team checking and work to do, but that has not yet been accomplished. By making it available for people like David and some of the other elders who would like to read it, they'll be able to provide their feedback and input to the translation team. And that just came out. In fact, David's still waiting for his. He called me today and asked me where his book is. I told him it's on his way to Shefferville, and it should be there soon. The other document that I prepared for you is this one. It's called the Working Paper on the Development of the Translation and Linguistic Services Department at NDC. Report to the Board of Directors for December. It looks like this. The first couple of pages are ones that you're familiar with. I always start out with what the mandate is for the Culture and Language Department at NDC. It's very important to remember why we do what we do. And the second page has that graphic that you've seen before. I showed this to you last year, how the different language projects are related to each other and how they feed into each other. And that's what happened with this, the Legends and Stories project. This provides input for the grammar project, for the dictionary project. They're all interrelated, like it says here. You've seen this before, but page 3 and page 4 you haven't seen before, and that's what I want you to spend some time discussing after I hang up. I talk a little bit about the present situation, and I urge you to consider the value of language work. There is a remarkable study from the University of Victoria that shows, and listen to this, that youth suicide rates among First Nations languages drops to almost zero when the young people can speak their indigenous language. Suicide rates jump to 600% in communities where they can't. The most important thing you can do for the next generation of Naskapi people is to sustain the Naskapi language. The work that NDC does in Naskapi language is one of the most important things in the community, and that needs to be reflected in the work of the Naskapi language specialists who are your employees who work in the community. We've always emphasized the fact that only a Naskapi person can be a Naskapi translator. Only a Naskapi person can be a Naskapi language specialist. Yet, for years, you have had consultant linguists, like myself, working alongside the Naskapi language specialists. I think it's time for a transition. I think you'll agree with me that we need to have a succession plan. We need to build capacity of Naskapi people who can become the next linguist for the Naskapi community. The Naskapi community can't do without a linguist. You need someone to handle the production of materials like this because the Naskapi language is so important. But consider that the young people could be taking academic training necessary to become linguists themselves. You could start with a Naskapi language specialist, but it doesn't have to stop there. So while we are still able, we could continue to provide mentoring support to the Naskapi linguists in training so that the NDC can sustainably support its language development mandate for years to come. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me and for discussing these matters among yourselves later. I'll talk with you next year. Ja miupiako, kia mioritakan mokushan. Watcha.